Welcome! It is I, the one guy whose videos are made on an inconsistent schedule. Here I am with a new type of video. Why? I don't know, man, I just wanted to do it. None of you will know this, but I'm a massive fan of the holy grail of games, Plants vs. Zombies. Okay, maybe not the holy grail, but sort of like the holy grail if the holy grail were made out of cardboard, forged from the wood of the most beautiful trees in the world. And my childhood. Who knew that I would build a $1,000 computer to decapitate poorly drawn 2D zombies?
Peak gaming.
That's why, today, I will be drawing my favorite zombie yet, Zombie Yeti. Okay, I haven't unlocked him in-game yet, but it looks like this. Reminds me of how I used to look when I was a child. Starting off, I chose to use A4 Bristol paper that I cut down to A5 because I'm poor and there's only so much toilet paper to draw on. I then proceeded to print some reference, because although I'm on my 12th playthrough of the game, my memory makes the goldfish's memory look like a 64 terabyte SSD. Now, did I need to print it so big? No, not at all, but I figured wasting paper and toner was a logical step after exposing myself as poor. And so I started the project. I decided to go for a boring 3/4 view, because although I wanted to draw this and make this video, I am still very much lazy. While drawing, I noticed that he wasn't nearly fat enough. I wanted to keep that mildly obese look because it reminded me of my father. Ha, just kidding, I don't have a father, but I imagine they look somewhat similar to what I intend to draw. I then realized that the drawing was inevitably going to turn into a hairy hunchback of Notre Dame, which is an intriguing idea, but not what I'm going for. So I sat and procrastinated for about half an hour as I contemplated why my drawing ability goes on strike whenever I want to do some illustration I get excited about. I then thought to myself, what if he was attacking an everyday plant? Then I remembered the Yeti likes running away with my sweet in-game diamonds, so why not draw him being scared or running away? So I took some reference photos because arms are tricky little things when they cover part of the body. In the process, I made myself look like a self-absorbed idiot, because I was pulling strange poses and faces, while taking a photo of myself. Once that was done, I printed that out as well, because unfortunately, I need my phone to record the video, as I do not have a camera because I am poor. I also made sure to print this one smaller because I have learned and grown as a person. My character development was going well, but my story had yet to begin because I had still not drawn a single line. So that's what I did, made sure to use the reference very loosely, making sure not to draw my double chin. After making the body desirably round, I moved to referencing my comedically small yet manly hands. Then moving to the eyes, I realized that in the original design the eyes are slightly squint, so I made them extra squinty for my own satisfaction. From there, my phone's battery started running low, teaching me what a parent feels like when having lost their baby in the mall. So after scrambling around to get my phone charging, I proceeded to make fingers look more stylized, which was an excuse to not worry about proper proportions. Now that the hair was done, I went into inking. Using my trusty G-pen, I drew my first line. I made sure to be quick and sharp with my movements in such a way that I looked like I drank liters of coffee or was having a stroke. All of this to make the fur look furry. I continued to ink as I disregarded the first rule of dip pen inking. Thou shalt not ink the right side before the left. But I like living on the edge. The danger of smudging the ink only gave me a rush. Besides, I am a cool kid, and rules don't apply to me unless it benefits me that they do. For shading, I did more squiggly lines to make different areas appear darker. After adding extra shading and dark patches, I left the drawing to dry as I moved on with other things. Some of you may be wondering if I was busy drawing Breakout Chapter 2, but I couldn't as I was too busy procrastinating. I woke the next morning after having nightmares of high school girls bullying me, and I approached my desk to start the coloring process. But I noticed that the pose wasn't great and the Yeti looked like he was having a bad trip, instead of looking scared like I initially intended. And so I decided to redraw the illustration and right the wrongs of my past. Ha! Once again I have deceived you! What do you take me for? A hardworking and talented artist? I chose to go ahead with the coloring in spite my past failings. Ha! You keep falling for my deceptions. I did not continue the coloring process. I procrastinated for the next 3 days. After said unproductive days, I then forced myself into doing it, like how children were forced to do work in the Industrial Revolution, except they got money out of it. I just got frustration. After testing colors and erasing my beautifully messy line art, I went in with a cool gray, disobeying another rule. This one with regards to alcohol markers, and started with darker shades because I am a rebellious cool kid. While shading and blending, I saw a mosquito and was morally obligated to murder it in cold blood. as they live to cause inconvenience and have taken away the lives of many of my fellow brothers and sisters of the human race. After I finished the face, I forgot that hands happened to have skin on them as well, and proceeded to shade the fur while waiting for the face to dry. I then wasted time adjusting the white balance, for a reason I'm sure made sense at the time. I finally remembered that hands consist of skin as well, and furthered the conquering of the whiteness of the paper. I then chose a green that could be overlaid over the cool grey, because although the cool grey was questionably green, it wasn't enough to make me happy. Not that happiness is really much of a factor in life. I then made the bad decision to add yellow to the highlights, causing the whole illustration to look like saturation only applied to parts of the face. So in response, I then made the other bad decision to use lavender purple to add color to the fur. Why? I guess there are just some things we will never know, like how my brain became so dysfunctional in my childhood. Perhaps it had something to do with the time when I chose to dive headfirst off of a bunk bed onto cold hard tiles, but perhaps I will never truly know. Using a white pencil, I accentuated the highlights, hoping to cover up the yellow mistakes, as if it were a murder. By the time I ended the video recording, I felt empty inside, and insecure, believing I had failed another artwork, also realizing that I hadn't colored the eyes or mouth. So I pretended that it was in the video, while in reality I frantically colored in order to get it done. A day later, I realized, hey, green is just blue, but green instead of blue. Therefore the answer equals blue. So I took courage and fearfully used blue over the fur to try and blend it all together while making it more colorful. Success! If success were like eating grass out of starvation. But I'll take the win, as winning is not a personality trait or realistic ability for me. Thank you for watching this video of me unleashing my innermost sense of humor, which gives the saying, comedy is relative, a whole new meaning. As in, my comedy is so relative because it is not funny. Please rate this drawing out of 10 or 5, or just spare my fragile feelings if you so please. Goodbye then.